What's going on, guys? My name is MrHurriicane, and I'm here today to recap the Minnesota Gophers Dynasty Season 4 off-season live stream. After a win in the bowl game against the Arkansas Razorbacks, we finally won our first bowl game in this dynasty. We went 6-6 in the regular season, and of course got that bowl victory. So now, how do we get better moving into the 5th season of the series? Before we get to the offseason, we'll recap Season 4 and the stats for our players. After 3 years of Philip Nelson, Mitch Leidner had his chance to start as a senior, throwing 21 touchdowns, but 20 interceptions. The turnovers were very out of control this year. Kevin Martindale was the feature back, had a pretty good year. His average was down. Our offensive line is definitely a weakness, but he was still a major part of our offense, and I'm very happy with him. In the receiving game, Drew Olatarski continues to get better. He posted double-digit touchdowns, and I was very surprised, pleasantly surprised, by the improvements Doug Duckett made playing in the slot in his second year as a player. And I was also happy with the way Jamel Harbison played on the outside. Defensively, Ray Dixon had a nice year. Andre Gaines, much improved from his redshirt freshman season, that is. Maurice Manning continues to be the best defensive player on the field. Sam Graves at cornerback, extremely happy with his improvement. He had 7 interceptions this past season as a junior. Other standouts were also Dan Smith having a good junior year, as well as Jack Lynn in his senior season at middle linebacker. Overall, the defense was inconsistent but showed some promise, and the offense just not as explosive as I had hoped they would be. I know Mitch Leidner really didn't fit our offense that well, and I tried to tailor the offense more to him, and it worked out okay. We were a 500 team. With Season 4 behind us, we also see that Andre Gaines, Ryan Santoso, and Sam Graves were all second-team All-Americans, and all 3 of those players are returning next year. Now you're seeing the bowl results around the NCAA, and of course we won ours, the Gator Bowl against Arkansas. But overall, the Big Ten right now is very strong. We have a lot of teams in BCS Bowls, including the national title game, Ohio State against Georgia Tech, which Ohio State won. We ended up finishing second in our division after placing first last year. Nebraska was extremely tough. We played them, and we had no answer for their high-powered offense. Overall in the Big Ten, we finished 5th with a 7-6 overall record. Now, it's time to move on to the offseason and find out who is leaving the University of Minnesota. Only players that are leaving are seniors. No juniors declaring for the draft, and nobody transferring away, which is important because I had redshirted a lot of highly rated prospects. But we have some key players, as every year, moving on. Guys like Tyler Hartman, Mitch Leidner, Jack Lynn. And with a few openings on the roster, nobody has chosen to transfer to us. So we're only having players that are on the team and the ones that I recruit. And with our seniors graduating, none of them got drafted. So no boost in our pro potential. I've been hoping we would strengthen that to make it easier to recruit some of the better prospects. But nonetheless, we have a very strong recruiting class even up until this point with 11 players. And I had preached this all season. Our main priority was the offensive line. I had neglected it too much building depth in previous years, so now we've been paying the price on offense, and I've got to get some better prospects at the guard position. So obviously our top priority, Joey Williams, the guard that we're in a battle with between us and Iowa. Then there was Joe Bennett. It's us and UTSA. I decided to hold off on the center, Butler, because we already have 2 centers that are solid, and there was a lot of teams looking to get him, so I felt like we should go elsewhere, and there were a lot of athletes that I found towards the end of the year that could play a variety of positions and be very good at them. Guys like Michael Stalling, Steven Smith, Alonzo Holland. And we spent a long time in the live stream, maybe 45 minutes or so, just trying to figure out how to get as many of these players as possible and make sure we get our top priorities, Joey Williams and hopefully Joe Bennett. To signing day we go, and we see that, well, we didn't get a lot of the players I was hoping for. A couple athletes didn't commit to anybody. Michael Stallings ended up going to TCU. We did get a tackle, Craig Moore. Joe Justice to UCLA, and Vanderbilt somehow overcame a huge difference in points to land Willie Parker, an outside linebacker, whom I assumed we were 100% going to get. Obviously, I was very wrong. We ended up 3rd place. Down the list, Johnny Bradford, barely put any points to him. We still got another guard. Not going to be a starter right away, but we have to build that depth. It's so important. And here you see the big prospects, Joey Williams, Joe Bennett. They've committed along with Alonzo Holland. So we got the 2 highest prospects on my board. And we ended up with a 46th ranked recruiting class with 17 total prospects. I am very happy with this class. Much happier than the end of Season 3. I'm doing a better job of getting depth in our key areas where we have guys graduating. And I think in the future you'll see our offensive line have major improvement. I still though I was wondering about Steven Smith. Why didn't he commit? 99% locked. Had I put a few more points into him, he probably would have committed. So I missed out on a guy who was 6'2", great elusiveness, great speed. Oh man, I was really upset that I missed out on that. That was a big missed opportunity. We only got one athlete. It was Alonzo Holland, put him at running back. And now, it's time to see how much our players progressed. How much better will our players be in Season 5? Everybody wants to see Andy McKenzie, the red-shirted quarterback, now entering his 2nd season, a redshirt freshman, and he's gotten better. Better accuracy, throw power is up, the speed's even up a little bit. At running back, Berkeley Edwards, Kevin Martindale, they were a dynamic duo last year, and now Maurice Pratt's going to join them with his amazing speed. At fullback, we move on from Tyler Hartman, and he's replaced by Will Thompson. At wide receiver, Drew Olatarski, big expectations in his final year. We know he and Duckett will be major parts of the passing game, but who will join them in 3 and 4 wide sets? Eric Carter, David Clark? We'll find out. At tight end, Adam Kirkpatrick, I've been happy with him, but I think I've underutilized him. He's got to be a bigger part of the passing game, I think. On the offensive line, looking for some big improvement here. Left tackle and center are 2 of our strongest positions. We're going to have some freshmen at guard, though, so it could be an interesting season. On the defensive line, we return all 4 starters, so they'll be even better, including senior Maurice Manning. He's played since his true freshman season, and I think he's going to be a beast in his final year. Might be a draft pick for us. At linebacker, Dan Smith will be on the outside, and 2 new starters to join him. Maurice Hudson at middle linebacker. He's a big 6'5" run stopper, and then senior Deniro Laster on the outside. There's also Marcus Woods and Jonathan Starks. It's going to be somebody who's really never played before, starting in place of Ray Dixon. At corner, Sam Graves. As a senior, this guy could be something special at cornerback. He's been showing improvement, 7 interceptions last season. Can't wait to see what he does this year. At safety, Corey Boyd will be starting. Kind of concerned about his abilities in coverage, so we'll definitely see how he does in practice. And he's joined by Andre Gaines, who steadily improved in his sophomore year. So I'm definitely confident with Andre back there now. He's a good run stopper as well. Here's a look at the overall roster now as the team looks a little bit stronger. I'm happy with the progression. I think I've recruited well early, and a lot of my players are now playing very key roles on this team. But now it's time to cut some players down from 75 to 70. Receiver Wesley McCutcheon. I think that we're deep at receiver right now, and he just doesn't fit what I'm looking for. On the offensive line, John Hunter, one of our lower rated players, he gets cut. Will Thompson, who walked on last year at defensive end, we filled in his spot and he gets cut this season. Left end, Ricky Richardson, same situation basically. And then at middle linebacker, Andy Bowers gets cut as Leon Daniels does survive another round of cuts. I know a lot of people say I should just cut him. I figure if there's going to be some players on the team who never play, I might as well keep one of the guys who's popular and a fan favorite, and I would never keep him on the roster to keep a good player who has playing potential off the roster. I only keep it there because there's some guys who just aren't going to play. I might as well keep the guy that a lot of people seem to like for some reason, but now you're seeing the red shirts. I'm redshirting almost everybody that I can on the offensive line. If depth becomes an issue, I can take the red shirt off, but if I can get guys extra years of eligibility in the offensive line, that's great to help us not be in the same situation we were last year with limited depth and just kind of a weak offensive line. Then I also redshirted guys like Alonzo Holland and Joe Bennett, just guys who aren't going to play very often. You'll see them next year, but I'm happy with the roster right now. And here you're seeing practice mode as new starting quarterback Andy McKenzie getting a chance to be seen with the offense. Drew Olatarski, Doug Duckett on the outside, and of course some new faces on defense. We got a couple key starters graduate, and so you'll see a few minutes of practice mode. I'll just talk about the team kind of heading into week 5 and my expectations. Obviously, last year, I didn't have the quarterback that I was really looking for. Mitch Leidner happened to be there as a senior, and I played him, although he doesn't really fit the offense that I have built. A pistol shotgun offense, get the quarterback out of the pocket quite often. And while we did have a lot of play action in the offense, the deep passing game was pretty much non-existent because Leidner was an accurate thrower, but not a deep passer or a mobile guy. And even Philip Nelson, the first 3 years in this dynasty, he had what I wanted, but he was just like the light version of the quarterback I was looking for. I wanted more mobility and a bigger arm. Andy McKenzie, I think, gives me everything I want in a quarterback. He's faster than Philip Nelson, and he's got a pretty good arm, which you'll see in this practice. There's plenty of times where I just test out his arm, including this big throw down to the end zone to Eric Carter. I was looking for a receiver to be our third guy. Duckett and Wolodarski will start, but what happens when we go to the 3 wide sets? Duckett will play in the slot. He's great there, but who is on the outside? Eric Carter making his bid to be a senior starter, well, third receiver in those 3 wide sets. And this was all experimentation. I wanted to see what Andy could do with his arm, how fast he was, how the option would be. And he's got more speed than Nelson had, and even though I have tested this in practice mode, we have another backup quarterback with some speed, Andrew Johnson. And I did the same plays I did with Andy, and I think Andy is faster, although his speed rating is a little bit lower. Maybe I didn't word that right. Andy has higher acceleration, so it's easier for him to escape the pocket, and he gets to his top speed faster. So I think Andy has the best mobility on the team as far as quarterbacks go, and you can see his arm. He's giving guys chances downfield, and guys are making plays. Eric Carter, he's already convinced me that he's got to be the number 3 receiver. Here's Martin Parker, a redshirt freshman, like a 4 or 5 receiver with some elusiveness. He's got good speed as well. You don't see him much in here, but Maurice Pratt, who was a junior college transfer I redshirted last year, is going to be a offensive weapon for us this year. Just a speed guy we can play on special teams, put him in certain run formations to get a toss. Just find ways to use his speed. And I think we have a lot of playmakers on this offense. Kevin Martindale's only in his junior season. He's still outrunning everybody on our defense. Overall, I'm very happy with the way the offense is coming together, as well as the defense. I think we're stronger on both sides this year, and I'm looking forward to Season 5. We end it seeing a big pass from Andy McKenzie to Doug Duckett. So a look at the depth chart. Yes, it's Andy McKenzie in his redshirt freshman season leading the offense. Kevin Martindale at halfback, Will Thompson at fullback. Your receivers, Drew Wolodarski and Doug Duckett will be in the 2 wide sets, but Eric Carter ends up being on the outside when we go to 3 and 4 wide. This was just the easier way to structure the depth chart. At tight end, we have Adam Kirkpatrick still in his redshirt junior season. On the offensive line, we have a couple returning starters and 2 true freshmen starting at guard. We'll see how that goes, but our top prospect, Joey Williams, will play right away along with Daniel Jones. It will still be a process to get this offensive line where it needs to be, but I think we're finally headed in the right direction. Defensive line, like I said before, all 4 starters return and remain intact. We're strong on the inside. We even have a great third defensive tackle for special pass rushing situations. At linebacker, it's the senior from my first recruiting class, Dan Smith. He's joined by Maurice Hudson and senior DeNiro Laster on the other side. I'm not sure what he brings to the table or Marcus Woods, so we'll see that linebacker spot in the first few games. At corner, Graves, Parker, and Smith. Same 1-2-3 punches last year. And at safety, Corey Boyd is the new starter, and he is alongside Andre Gaines. So that concludes the depth chart, and here is our upcoming schedule for Season 5 of the Minnesota Dynasty. Our out-of-conference games this year are Colorado State, Troy, and the University of Miami later in the year. We play Ohio State this season, the defending national champions, and it looks like once again we'll be underdogs as we're only predicted to finish 5th in our division. 58th is our preseason rank at the beginning of the season. We'll try to prove some people wrong this year as Season 5 is ready to kick off. I'll have a touchdown montage coming soon that won't take too long to make, and then Week 1 against Colorado State. I'm ready to get Season 5 underway. Thanks for watching, guys. That is the Season 4 off-season, but now Season 5 is directly ahead of us. Let me know your predictions for our season in the comment section below, our record, and how you think overall this team is going to be. I think we're going to be better than last year. I'm hoping that we can have a very special season. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys against Colorado State when the new era in Minnesota football begins. Have a great day.